Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Raynham Board of Sewer Commissioners for Thursday, November 9th, 2017. Thank you to all who are in attendance. First order of business, approve the printed minutes for our public meeting of 10/12/17. Motion.
Second.
Motion made by...
I guess we should make a motion before we second it, right?
Motion by Mr. Rosta.
Second.
Second by Mr. Betancourt. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, none. The minutes are approved as printed. Thank you. Next order, business correspondence. Any correspondence tonight, Superintendent?
Yes, we have a brief correspondence here. We have some customers in the city of Taunton. If they don't pay their bill, in the past we had no ability to put a lien on their property. Town treasurer passed a bill, an article at the last town meeting that allows us to put a lien on their property. So now he's exercising that. We have one customer in Taunton, the house is abandoned, and there's been about 2 years, haven't been able to collect the revenue. So it's necessary to abate those charges, and then Taunton will put the lien on the property on Raynham's behalf. When the property gets sold, then we get our cut. So we have the abatement documents in your folder for signature tonight if the board approves this transaction as recommended by the town accountant, town treasurer.
Okay, that's good. We'll get the money through Taunton when they sell the house, which they'll have their own liens on, I'm sure.
Right.
Property tax, TMLP, etc. Any problem, concern, discussion? Anybody good with it?
No, I think that's a good idea because we have the same situation in our neighboring community that,
Couple houses in Bridgewater.
yeah, that we could possibly have the same thing, and the treasurer was able to get this so that he can work with their treasurer and make sure that we're not short-ended on it. Very good.
All right then, I'll entertain a motion to approve the request of Treasurer Collector Michael King to abate for fiscal years 12, 13, 14, 15, account number 2931.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, none? It is unanimous. Oh, okay. Next, any other correspondence?
No.
None. We're gonna dispense the superintendent's report as we have someone here on the new business. I'd like to, with permission of the board, move that up.
Go ahead.
Thank you. So that would be Doug King to appear to discuss connection fees for his Phase 2 Riverview Meadows development. Good evening, sir. Welcome.
Thank you.
Doug, may I do an introduction first, please?
Sure.
Bring these gentlemen up to date.
All right, superintendent.
So back in 1989, Doug King had a project off South Street East. It's called Riverview Meadows. It was a three-phase project at the time. He only advanced at that time with Phase 1. He obtained permits to install sewer service for his Phase 1, and ultimately he did. It was necessary for him to access our nearest gravity manhole was at the intersection of South Street East and Orchard Street on the corner. So he had to lay pipe in a public way. Harry Carey, the sewer superintendent at the time, made him lay pipe from his project on South Street East up to that nearest gravity manhole. And he did that as his own expense, including curb-to-curb paving. So then, several years later, now in early 2017, the economy is good, so he wants to proceed with Phase 2. So you remember that that Mr. King came in before the board in January, and he wanted some relief on the, I had informed Mr. King that he would have to do sewer bank fees to displace the wastewater he was going to contribute to the Taunton treatment plant. He pleaded that his project was old and should have been put on the grandfather list. He made a good argument. It was reasonable. I agreed with him, and the board voted to forgive the requirement to put his Phase 2 and levy sewer bank fees. Okay? So then his next step is to advance his project Phase 2 a little bit more. He's done his site clearing, now he's pursuing permits. So when his engineer came in for the permits, I told him that we have a connection fee requirement for
Thank you.
new buildings. And so the connection fee that would be applicable to his project in his first building, I think, was gonna be a 10-unit apartment building. So it would be a connection fee for new buildings, multiple family residences, per apartment, $4,000. He's got a 10-spot. I said a connection fee would be $40,000. So Mr. King would like to explain to the board why that's not appropriate and seek relief from the board.
Thank you, Superintendent. Good evening, sir. Welcome.
Thank you. And with everything John said, I agree with.
Okay.
So, let me give you.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
So then, go on my.
Thanks, Tim.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So what happened, in 1987, when we got the comprehensive permit with, Harry Carey and, Randy Buckner was the, town administrator, and I don't know, I think Harry Carey was DPW too. And then, I don't believe at that point, Raynham had sewer, so we had to get sewer from Taunton. So we went to Taunton and Raynham simultaneously, and the permits in that big package. And we got a permit for 225 units. And Harry Carey thought that we should come up the river with the sewer when it was coming across. On Orchard Street, there's a little street that the sewer came across from Taunton. I don't know what that other street is, but that's roughly where the manhole was. So, but it was complicated to come up the river because of wetlands and stuff. So then we could go either way, and then it was the easiest way was to come up South Street. So we came up, which was part of this 225 unit sewer permit with, I'm not sure how the gallons, but I think it was 56,650 gallons per day for the whole development, which we got from Taunton and Raynham. So we had to do both. And at the same time, Perini was starting the industrial park. So then we were working with them, with Taunton, got the sewer, and then brought it up South Street, and then Harry Carey made us pave the whole street. We're aggravated, but so we spent $500,000. And with that sewer, the town of Raynham also got the care place, the nursing home, that they were able to build and tie into the sewer. And then we came at 512 South Street, we then came across, got off the street and came across the field, because we bought the whole farm, and then came across with a force main, a 4-inch force main. I think that was like 1,500 feet. So in all, we spent $1 million, which was for the 225 units and for the permit. And then what happened, we built the 91 units, which was phase 1 in 88 or 89. And we had wetland issues in phase 2, which made it difficult to get phase 2, and so we sort of put it on a back burner, and then came back and bought the property from Robertson at 478 South Street. And then I think we bought that 2 years ago, and then we could add land to it that was contiguous, and then added that. And John's absolutely right. When we came in, because we were grandfathered with the development, which we all agreed after we came here a couple of meetings, that we were grandfathered for the sewer. So
I just want to
yeah,
be specific. You were grandfathered on what was that fee called? sewer bank.
Sure, bank.
Sewer
Yeah.
bank.
Because at the time when you applied, that didn't exist.
Right,
And so we felt at the time we got a legal opinion that it was appropriate to waive that, because at the time when you presented the project, that didn't exist.
right.
But at the time when you presented the project, there were hookup fees.
Only $25, which
But-
I included in your package.
Correct, but there
20.
were fees. So
Yeah.
there is a difference between that particular presentation and what we're
No,
here tonight
No,
about.
this isn't, there's two sides to this story, yeah.
You're
But-
giving us a history lesson.
N-
That's basically, yeah, because we're here and
No, no, and
you
I wanna
lived
be
it.
fair, I mean, but we spent $1 million in 1988, was probably $3 million today to do it, but we put that sewer line in because we had a permit for 225 units, both on sewer and on building the units, and we never stopped. What's
That was just my phone.
that?
At least we
So-
know whose it is.
So the development,
You paid your bills,
Was-
you wouldn't get calls like that.
we did phase one, but we always continued it, so the permits never ran out.
So you have 91 units complete now, phase 100%.
100%, yeah.
100%.
And
And
those
this
91
applies to phase 2,
And
which is
three.
only a 10-unit request?
No, we only went we're doing a building at a time.
Uh-huh.
There's 60 units in phase 2, and there's
6 buildings at 10.
10 units.
They're
yeah.
doing one building, occupying,
Okay.
doing the next building.
Yeah,
Okay, so
we're
6
going.
buildings, 10 units a building.
So there's, yeah, phase 2 is 60, and
Gotcha.
phase 3 is 70, I think it's 73 units. So it's 134 units, must be 74. There's 134 units to go, to make the 225
Gotcha.
and 91.
Yeah.
So we never, our side is, we feel that we paid for the 225 unit fee by bringing that sewer. We did everything the permit from 89 required. So we think it's valid, and we didn't think that we didn't know, right or wrong, that there was an additional fee. So we paid the fees to done everything with every department, and then went for the 10 unit, and
So back then, when you did the 91 units, phase 1,
yeah,
and you paid a connection fee,
yeah, it was
whatever it was,
yeah, it was
$25?
$25 per building, it wasn't even per unit.
Okay,
Yeah.
but based on the rates at that time.
Yeah, did you have sewer then, in Raynham?
Did you go to a Raynham manhole with your sewer?
Yeah, the Perini bought out.
No, no.
Yeah.
Did you go to a Raynham
Yes,
manual?
definitely.
All right, then Raynham had sewer,
Okay, yeah, you're right,
okay?
yeah, that's right,
Yeah, we had it on 44 too prior to that.
Yes, we
So-
did.
yeah,
Because in '87,
yeah.
they came through my yard with the big subdivision coming out of Pleasantfield.
Right, yeah, as a matter of
Okay.
fact, I got
Yeah, we
mine.
definitely went to a Raynham manhole.
Yeah,
So back then, you paid for the 91 units, or did
Oh,
did you pay a permit fee for all 225 units
To the Raynham Sewer Department?
at the time?
No, because we were paying by building.
Okay, so
So
you don't,
we
so
only
you
had
did
built-
not pay
No,
for
we
the
only-
total 220, you only paid for the 91 that you
Because we were only
constructed
building 91.
at the
yeah.
time,
Yeah.
okay.
But we had a permit for 225, a sewer permit and a sewer discharge permit.
But
Yeah.
didn't pay a connection fee for the
No.
entire 225 at the
We
time?
would have if we were asked, but we weren't asked.
Okay.
But we'd gladly pay that today.
I'm sure you would, that's why you're here.
at today's rate.
But the other problem, and, and I'm not trying to be antagonistic or anything, but 25% of this is affordable housing,
Mhm.
really workers' housing. And we don't, on those units, you don't make any money.
Nobody knows which one is the affordable housing.
Right.
You
No one
live
does.
next to the person, you think they're paying the same rent.
Right, and you gotta build them exactly the same,
Yeah,
but you get less rent, so you get,
So
you
you have
don't make any money.
25% in there that's gonna be considered 40B?
Yeah, but now
It'll be filed as a 40B?
it is.
It is.
Said never, well, that was, so this thing took 2 years to restart.
Yeah.
So we had to go, and we came to you guys when we came
January.
last year.
Yeah.
January.
But we went to every other department and Board of Appeals, and we proved that because we never stopped, as far as managing, developing and stuff, that the permits never ran out, including the sewer permit. And on the discharge permit, not to go a little off schedule, we had 56,000, our permit is for 56,650 gallons. We had more, and it was for 515 bedrooms, for the 225.
Mhm.
Now that we're starting up again, we're gonna build more 1 and 2 bedroom units. So we're gonna have 426 bedrooms for the entire complex, which is in your package.
So I mean, the
20%.
gallonage is gonna be less.
Yeah, 20% less. So
Yeah.
we're only gonna use 46,000 gallons per day, which we don't even think we'll use that. And we also went through the existing phase 1, and put in all water saving toilets. We just did them all over.
That, I'm gonna just interject here, that cost is your savings.
Yeah. No, I
Instead of paying 56,000 gallons, you're paying 42,000 gallons, or whatever the number might be.
Yeah, exactly. No, but it's a good thing.
Yeah, it's not,
No.
we don't save any money on that. It
No,
doesn't
but
cost
it's,
us any money on that.
No, but it's a responsible development.
Yes.
That's all I was trying to say. And then with the community,
And that's never been questioned, and I think that's a good project up there, I think it looks
yeah,
good.
and we just,
And I look forward to seeing this too.
and we just did it all over.
Yeah,
And we just put $4 million in dollars in there. But we truthfully never figured this 4,000, and we truthfully have started there. So it's, the 4,000 a unit, it's 240,000 for just phase 2. And we never figured it, and it's, we were surprised when we came in, well, whenever it was, 2 or 3 weeks ago, and that's why we're here. But I think we all have a responsibility to help these. Affordable housing is something that, it's not just the developer is doing, it's for the community, and it is providing a need. So that's my case.
Thank you. And I won't cut you off if you have more to say. I just want to go to John now with a question. When we built the development off of 104, across from Rosina's farm,
What
I wasn't here.
development?
you were there at that point?
I can't remember the arrangements.
That's a 40B project. Another, which,
Single family houses, right?
no, that one is,
Apartments.
it's farm, it's 240 units.
Oh,
But they all went up at the same time, Gordon.
That's right, they all went up at
It
the same
wasn't,
time.
it wasn't a phase.
oh,
The one builder, they had, I think they had 4 or 5 buildings that were almost totally spec'd
really?
and continued building, so they never, when they finished construction, you know, they had empty apartments, but
They chose to do it that
it was
way.
done, yeah.
Yeah, not for long though, that's a nice
No,
complex.
no,
They filled those up.
but I'm just relating to him
Yeah,
the same situation, that his is going in on a phase. They decided, well, we're gonna have 240 units, they built a 240, just like that.
I don't know.
yeah.
So, I mean,
But we had,
their dilemma was, when it happened, they were covered with everything, it was all new.
yeah,
Once they were permitted, they built it.
yeah.
For you, the economy
Well,
staggered you.
And I had the wetland problem.
Well, a
Which
lot
I
of
had to
people,
go, I had to go to.
yeah, a
Roberts
lot of, well,
to move over.
the wetland problem kept you from being able to continue on to phase 2 and phase 3.
Yeah, I had to move.
And then when you acquired the piece of land,
I had to move over.
it kind of
Yeah,
put the wetland problem out of your way.
right, yeah, I sidestepped it.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
now, I remember a little bit about that project near Rosina's. They had 2 requirements, a sewer bank. They bypassed the sewer bank because they went around, they gave people low flush toilets and, and these type of water conservation devices. They were able to demonstrate that the amount of water saved was greater than or equal to the amount that they were gonna flush from their project. So the sewer bank was waived in that regard, which was another one of the methods that you had available to you. But as far as what the connection fee was the superintendent at the time, I don't know what he was charging.
probably the current rate at the time, I would
At the
suspect,
time.
yeah. I do remember that low flush toilet. I think
Yeah.
Mr. Dupont, who's here tonight, you and I were on the Board of Health then, right? I remember that, yeah.
I remember, yeah.
And they were able to reduce the gallonage.
And I think that was a critical factor at the point, Gordon, because the original number they had was really high, and that, the sewer tank issue, I don't remember it specifically, but it's probably in the minutes, Gordon.
Yeah, and that worked out good for that project, and what a great job. There was some of us that were supportive of that, we took some heat, like you and I. But what a nice project, yeah, that they did up there, and as I'm sure yours is, it looks great now, and I'm sure it'll continue that, and
Now, we put
it'll be a positive for our community.
everything internally, we maintain the lines, and we, the pumping station, the lift station, we maintain.
Yeah.
And we put reserve funds and everything, which you got.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I don't know, but I would think if we're maintaining it, and I'm not trying to get in your business, but it must be more, you make a little more in mind where I'm maintaining the lines and the lift station versus someone else that you were maintaining. I have no
Yep.
idea what it is, but we truthfully haven't figured this. And we think that because we spent the money, and it was our choice,
Yeah,
but we spent the money coming up South Street, that was sort of like, that was our investment into the Raynham sewer thing. And I think the sewer system, and I really think that Life Care Center, it definitely couldn't have been built without the sewer we brought up. If the town figured the taxes, that's gotta be 25, 30 years old, that Life Care place.
Mr.
yeah,
Chairman,
yeah.
Yes, sir.
the only parallel I would offer the commission is on King Street, when Whippoorwill project was done, they had to reach all the way to Route 24 to get to a pump station, and they installed that sewer pipe on King Street at no cost to the taxpayers. A mistake was made at the time where those residences were assessed a sewer betterment, which was corrected 2 years ago when I got here. So the idea was, they got a free pipe, they didn't have to pay a betterment, but they still had to pay for a connection. But it recognized the investment of a private contractor to the benefit of those residences that got the pipe running by their street.
Well, that's basically standard procedure on any utility that goes in the public right of way. Once it's in the right of way, the public right of way, then you can't charge a betterment, you can charge a hookup fee. It's just like when the telephone company and the electric light company put the poles down the street. Every other pole belongs to the telephone company or the electric light company, but those poles are in the public right of way, and the public has access to it, and that access is a fee to hook up, not a payment for part of the investment. So when the sewer line goes in, whether it be if the town does it, we can better them because it's done by town tax money, and we can recuperate that way. But if a developer goes in, he's putting the sewer in primarily for his project. And the town reaps the benefit of not having to expend that money. And the people who really reap the benefit is the people on that pipeline that don't have to worry about paying their taxes or a betterment charge for that service. But they still have to pay to hook up, and then they have to pay to use it.
When other projects in town, like King Philip Street or Church Street, and the apartments continue to expand over years, the hookup fees have applied differently to each project. Am I correct on that? As they are developed?
Well, for instance, John Noblin's apartments on Church Street,
Yes.
he paid a betterment on each of those buildings because they were existing. Now, when he develops the back 40, well, no, he had 2 new apartment buildings. He paid a betterment, which was just assessed, and he also paid connection fee of $4,000 per unit. There were 8 spots. There were 2 checks of $32,000 for those 2 buildings.
Where-
Because he's following this fee schedule.
20 years ago, when we built the original ones, or 30, I don't know
On
how
King
long.
Philip Street, I don't know what the.
They would have paid the
connection
rate
was.
at the time.
Right.
They paid the
The rate
connection rate
was.
at the time. So,
But I don't think he got, I have no idea, but I don't think he got a permit, a discharge permit and a sewer permit for 225 units. Let's go back to that, say 20 years ago, whatever,
20 years ago, he had septic systems.
yeah, you wouldn't have gotten that.
whenever he did it, but I mean, let's just say hypothetically.
Yeah, I know what
He
you're
was
saying.
building somewhere where 20 years ago, he had a piece of land with 10, what are they, 10 unit built, he built?
8 spots.
Eight spots. Then he had 10 8-unit buildings. He only built 4 up front, but he paid for bringing the sewer up, and then he had 4 more internally. I don't, if that was approved for 8 buildings 20 years ago, I don't think it's sort of the same thing. See,
But-
what I think I'm not getting the credit for
Mhm.
is bringing that sewer up for 225. I know I got the use of the 91, and I wouldn't have brought it up if it was just 91, because it was a big expenditure, and I knew I had to get off that street.
And I do want to emphasize, and we did discuss that in January, and
I remember that,
that
yes.
played a major role in our decision at the time to waive the other, the sewer bank.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that it didn't even exist at the time, and
Right.
it came after that, and we felt to hold you to something that didn't exist when you originally applied was unfair, in addition to taking into consideration the effort you made at the time. But this is different, because what you did here is you paid for the permit at the time, the fee for the 91 units, and you paid whatever that was at the time.
Right.
And consistent with what we've done with every multiple resident project is, as they phase in, Joe gave an example of one project that phased everything in at once, so they probably paid one fee for all the units.
Yeah.
But these other buildings, as they phase in, they're paying the connection fee that's set at that time. And with you now, what's happened is, you didn't pay for the 225 permit, units at the time, you paid for 91. So now, you come, with another phase at a different time, with a new rate. But we did have a connection fee at the time, and so it's not that we're adding something different or new that didn't exist. The only difference is, over time, the fees have increased. So,
Yeah, you're
it's
talking
just,
like 100 times.
but that's what's happened. And
Right.
that's what's happened with all of the town fees and state fees and federal fees. Everything goes up with
No,
inflation
100 times.
and the cost.
Yeah.
So I'm one person. My feeling at this time, unless I can be convinced otherwise by the board, is that I wouldn't be willing to waive that fee, because consistent with what we've done with the other projects since I've been on this board, is we've gone with the fee at the time. I'll turn it over to you gentlemen for further discussion.
Can I say one more thing?
Please, please.
If those other projects spent the money to bring the sewer up to their development for back to the John Noblem, there are 80 units, would they get a break versus the guy that didn't bring any sewer up the street? I think that's where the difference is, and I think that's where
Well, I hear you, and I think that's one of the things we took into account when we granted the previous waiver, back in
Don't you think-
January of whatever year it was, 16?
we'd like you to be consistent.
Of course you would.
Well, no, we are being consistent. You want us to make an exception because of, you did the sewer. And we waived the sewer bank fee, and we agreed that, okay, you did the sewer, that regulation wasn't imposed at the time, we can waive it. But if the fee was $25 per unit 30 years ago, and 27 years ago, it went to $38 a unit, and then eventually evolves to $4,000 a unit, anybody along the way had to pay the going rate.
Mr. Chairman, can I
Yes.
offer another thought?
Yes, please.
Paramount Development developed that park and paid for all that wastewater collection system. as each building is constructed, they pay a connection fee. And they pay it per the fee schedule,
which exists at the time of the application.
No, the new one, they're paying the new fee.
That's what I
schedule.
mean, when they
Yeah.
come in here
when
with,
they
with
come in,
an
they pay
expansion.
whatever our fee schedule is.
Okay.
Even though the Paramount Development put in that pipe, and the cost of that lot is probably reflected reflects the fact that the pipe was in there. Fully serviced lot.
Ed, anything to add?
No, I think that, I don't know, whatever you guys feel about it, kind of over my head as far as all the background and all that, you know?
Okay. Further discussion? Seeing none. Anybody from the public would like to weigh in? No? Seeing none? All right, I'll entertain a motion.
Do not grant?
Motion to deny the request to reduce the current fee from $4,000 to the fee that existed in 1987 at $25.
Oh, I would,
Or
before
just
the
say
motion, may I make a comment?
Say whatever the fee was at that time. Please.
May I make a motion?
Yep.
I would consider, in any individual case, the case that comes before the board on its merits. And because of the history and the way it's come about, the $4,000 pill is a difficult pill for the developer to accept. To go back to what it was, I couldn't vote for. Could I give him some relief? I could consider some relief, but I could not consider at all waiving the fee as it's stated. I mean, everybody can make a case as to what it is. And this is just, believe me, this is not the way to solve the problem. But because this development has 40B units in it, supposedly low income, 40B,
Right.
okay. If there was a way that he could determine how many units that were 40B, I would consider reducing the fee on the 40B, but not on the going rate. I mean, not that I'm trying to negotiate an
No, I
agreement in
get it.
between, but we're talking about a lot of things, the history, the way it came about, and the fact that we do have the 10% coming in at 40B, which it's in a development that we're familiar with, and a developer that we're familiar with, and it's not some new case coming in. But if we were to say that he's putting in a 10-unit building, 10% is only 1 unit. And this is not the answer. Instead of 40,000, 36.5. You see, some type of a reduction specifically covering the 40B, as Mr. King says, doesn't make any money on that because he's got to almost give it away because of the regulations in the 40B law. But what he has is going rate apartments, housing units, the same as John said, John Noblin. Those are commercial, going rate apartments. They should pay the fee.
I have two concerns. The first would be, if we were to do that, I'm worried about, the precedent it sets, and every contractor in town will start coming in looking for relief. The second part is the legality of waiving some of the units and not the others. That would necessitate a legal opinion, I think, before I would wanna call for a vote on doing that. You know, but I
Well-
defer to the board if they would like to table this for a month,
Hey.
and get a legal opinion on
I'm
whether
just,
Mr. Betancourt's suggestion
I'm
is
just,
legal. I'd be happy to do
I'm
that.
I'm just offering a possible observation that I have, okay? I cannot vote I can't vote to waive the fee. I can vote to give them some relief in a fashion that makes sense and is doable. Okay, I mean, I'm not saying, well, pick a number, but I just used the fact that he's talking about 40B. If someone were to come into the board here, a developer, and he's gonna bring sewer from one of our manholes to this beautiful piece of land, and everybody in that lot is covered under affordable housing. If you make $36,000 a year, you can live there. If you make $175,000, you can't live there because you're too wealthy to live there. We want to take care of those people. Then I'd say, yeah, let's give him a break. Let's help him. He's trying to help the people who can just about afford to live in a tent, to do something like that. That's the only thing that's driving the conversation that I'm giving, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, I hear you.
Yeah.
Would you like me to seek a legal opinion, table it for a month,
Well,
on Joe's suggestion that to entertain reducing the fee on the 40B units?
I think that's a good idea,
Okay,
yeah.
all right, then I guess then what I'll do is I'll seek a motion to table this request for 1 month, put this on the agenda at the December meeting, seek a legal opinion on whether the board is allowed to reduce the fee, the connection fee, for the percentage of units that are designated 40B.
Well, maybe they can give you an opinion as to how you can reduce or when you can reduce. Then it doesn't have to be just for 40B in the future.
Well, that really worries me, because now we're really
Well,
opening
what are
the
you
key.
asking them for? You're asking them for a very specific
Yes,
thing.
because I'm worried about creating any type of precedent, like I said, that we're gonna have contractors at every meeting looking for relief with all kinds of reasons. 40B, that's a specific reason, that's a benefit to the community. I would rather do it on a case-by-case basis than open it up to everybody coming in.
That's why I'm talking in this particular case, because there's a unique piece of this.
Yeah.
It's 40B is the development, but how many units? Is it 10%? If in fact he has 10 units out of 100 that are affordable housing and qualify as affordable housing, then we can focus on those 10. And the rest of them are
Right.
market rate.
On the parcel I gave you?
Yeah, yeah.
I think it's the second page in from the last. It's got a chart. Not the lawyer's thing, but keep going. Yeah, get rid of him.
Okay,
Yeah, and then my second page.
okay, gotcha, yep, this one.
Yeah,
Yeah, that'll give us the amounts.
so on that phase two, if you look at the last column, there's 45 units that are market
Uh-huh,
and 15 that are affordable.
okay,
And then in phase three would be 55 units market, 19 affordable.
okay. What I'll do with the permission of the board is, I'll forward this whole thing to town council, and then I'll ask him if we can do that as a one-time vote to apply it for all the phases.
Now, the other interesting thing on this is by doing, and this is back the 30 years ago, whatever, 1987, whenever the comprehensive permit was, by doing 25% of the 225 affordable, the town gets the count for
Yeah.
100%.
That's right, yep,
And they wanted
Yep.
Legally, we could have done 20%.
Yeah, no, I do, yeah, we were involved,
Yeah, so
Mr.
you-
DuPont and I were involved in that, and the other project, yeah,
Right,
that got us
so they
over the
wanted
10%.
that extra 5%, which obviously isn't good for me, but was.
Yeah, it was good for the
It was
town,
good
yeah.
for the community.
You have on your scale, phase one only none under restricted?
No, I got, phase one, 22. Phase one and 23. On phase one, they did it different back then, and it was vultures, but it's the same thing.
Okay,
but
so on
it's a
on
different
phase
program.
two, it's
Yeah.
gonna be 15.
Yeah, but those, in phase two, those would be a percentage of the income of it.
Those are 15.
You don't need vultures like they used to.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
and then on phase three, there'd be 19.
19, yeah. So the total number of affordable on the 225 would be phase one, 23, phase two, 15, and phase three, 19.
So basically, the question would be on the 15 and the 19, because
Yeah.
you've already
Yeah,
got,
because
the others
let's not go back.
all right, so I'll do that,
Now,
if the board is so pleased.
Yeah.
so one of the 10 units, we got an application in. How do we, for a building permit, we'd like to, with the winter coming, I don't mind the 30 days other than, how do I do that one? That's how this all started. We came for a permit 2 or 3 weeks ago, and then
Yep.
we thought there was no fees. How do you want me to proceed on that?
Well, let me, all right, maybe, I can't do it as a motion, but I can probably give you a sense of the board. If town council comes back and says we're allowed to do that, if this helps you tonight, I would vote to allow a reduction on the 15 units in phase two.
Well, he's only looking for, he's not building 33 units,
Just do 10, yeah, I'm going
he's
for it.
building 10.
Yeah, but we would vote for the whole phase at that time.
Yeah, but that might take a month.
Yeah, but if you vote for the whole phase, he'll come in and say, here's the 10.
So when are you building the 10?
Well, there's 10 units.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
But is that,
It's in the same phase, yeah. It's 10 units part of the 60.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. But when he comes into a hookup,
mhm.
he's got 10, that's not per building, is it, John? 4,000 a building or 4,000 per unit?
Per unit.
That's not-
Okay.
Yeah, it's huge.
He's coming in with 10 units on that first building. And what's he gonna say to you? Oh, these are the 40B.
No, I'm not, no, it only could be 25, but the most, I don't know whether it's 2 or 3, 'cause you can't round, I can't build a half a unit.
Well,
let's say
you
three,
have,
yeah.
you have 15 out of
Yeah.
60,
Right,
okay?
Yeah.
So if you
And
got,
there's
10
6 buildings.
buildings, it's
Six
one and,
buildings.
is 1.5 or 2 a building.
no, there's 6 buildings, 6 10.
6 tens, okay, so
So
6
it's either-
buildings,
It's either
Some are
2 or
2,
3.
Some are 3.
2 or 3.
It's either 2 or 3.
yeah,
So that's what
Yeah.
would it be applied to?
yeah. I'd have no problem doing that if it's allowable. I think helping the developer help the people who need the housing is the right thing to do. I don't think anybody coming in who's gonna put a subdivision of 27 houses is gonna be coming in and saying to you, look, this is gonna be a 40B activity.
No, they couldn't do it.
So are you comfortable with that?
Yes.
All right, so I think you got a sense of, if we get the opinion, well, here's what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
If the opinion is yes,
Yeah,
on that first building,
yeah, just.
you're gonna get relief on 2 or 3 units, depending on what you
Right
tell
away.
us right
No,
away.
I don't have to come back,
No.
I don't wanna wait a month.
Well,
That's- yeah. I
No,
just have
we'll,
to-
we'll vote it next month, but I think, you know, you've got a sense of the board that if the
Yeah.
opinion is favorable,
It's John, I gotta get through.
well, he has this,
Well-
if the opinion is not favorable,
Yeah, then I understand.
then,
Then we got another problem.
then we're going
Then
to,
we got,
we would vote, I think the sense of the board is we would vote that it's a $4,000 fee for
Yeah.
the entire 10 of that first project.
Doug wants to break ground
I
now.
don't think I could live with that.
Doug wants to break ground now, he has a building permit, application is pending.
Okay, so what's he wanna do? He wants to dig for his foundation.
But I can't get a building permit.
I have to sign off,
Yeah.
I have to collect the fee when
Yeah.
I sign off.
Well, we could do this then. We could do a motion, depending on town council's opinion, and ask him to expedite it before next month's meeting. Wanna do that?
Well, let's put it this way, it's relatively simple. You could sign the permit and say that the fee will be determined within the next 30 days. And Mr. King is gonna be sitting there, and he can go in and get his building permit. He's not gonna put the pipe in,
Right, yeah.
He's not gonna put the pipe in.
Yeah.
but at least he can go ahead and build his foundation and get it out of the ground before the ground
Well, we can
freezes.
do that, but if he comes back in a month and the, decision of the board is he doesn't get any relief, you're gonna continue with that building? You're taking the risk
I don't know
of
about that
continu-
one, but I'm gonna, I think, in my opinion, that wouldn't be right. But I don't know, that's what, on that building, yeah, if I put the foundation, I'm not gonna stop.
Well, you're gonna, I will sign
Well,
off
look-
on the building permit, but you'll be putting the foundation in at risk, knowing that you may incur no relief at all. On the 10 units, times $4,000. If you're willing to take that risk, then we'll fast track it for you. If you don't wanna take the risk, then we'll put you on the agenda for next month.
It's gonna be on the agenda next month
They gotta
anyway.
come next month
Yeah,
anyway.
right?
Yeah, I think that sums up the best option. So what I'm gonna do then is I'm gonna table, the
So
vote,
we're throwing the dice.
I'm gonna table the vote, and,
It's Russian roulette.
with the permission of the board, I'll forward, Mr. Betancourt's, question to town
If you don't
council
put it in, you're screwed if it's a bad winter.
for the legality of the 40B
Yeah.
units,
Yeah.
the affordable housing units.
Can we give relief?
Can we give relief on those?
Yeah.
And put on the agenda for a full vote next month's meeting. How's that sound? So we'll need that as a motion. Everything good? Everybody
So
good?
moved.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think we need a motion on that, because all I'm doing is, as the chairman, I'm tabling the,
Yes, your table, so
it'll be on the
Next
agenda.
month.
And I'm
So
telling
at
you what
least
I'm
you
gonna
know-
do in the meantime.
you know what we're trying to do, that's
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
All right, so I think I'll, once you put that together and forward that to council, I will follow up with a phone call to try and get Mr. King an expedited opinion prior to our vote next month. How's that? I'll do my best effort, and I won't make you wait a month. And
Yeah.
I'll tell council, we really got, even though we won't officially vote,
Yeah.
I think you have a sense from us, if council says we can do it on those 2 or 3 units, we're gonna do it.
Yeah.
And if I can get you that opinion in a week or so, I'll forward
See, it's
that
still-
immediately to you.
It's still tough, because it's 45 units times 4,000, you're talking 180,000.
Yeah.
It's still a lot of money.
It's a good project.
All right,
Well,
thank you.
if you had relief on 15,
Yeah, but you gotta, it's 4,000 times 45, the market ones.
yeah.
Yeah, well, it's certainly better than nothing.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that, but it's still,
Well,
it's still quite a bit of money.
If we were to go in, you would have to convince 2 people on the board to say, yes, waive it, because I had already declared I wouldn't waive that
I
fee.
got the message, I believe me.
You know, and I'm just
I'm
trying-
just doing the arithmetic.
I'm just trying to, you
No, I
know,
appreciate it, I think,
do what I think
it
is
may,
the-
I think that definitely we all have an obligation to the workers' housing. I think it's, the whole
Yeah.
lower and middle class has got squeezed for the last 10 to 20 years in the housing market. So I think we all have that.
No, I
don't like
appreciate the fact
I don't
you're
like the
doing that.
4,000 on the market, but I don't wanna do nothing either.
I hear you. All right, so I'll get back to you as soon as I can with that opinion or superintendent, either way. But I'll try and really squeeze them to get that for you.
And when we do this, it'll be phase 2 and phase 3, right? We're not gonna have to keep coming in, are we?
As I said, that would be my vote,
Yeah, I don't wanna keep,
would be,
Not that I don't
yes.
like you guys,
That would be
but-
my recommendation for a motion to, yeah, let's do it one time, so you can do for planning purposes, what you'll know with those 40B
We'll have it in
units.
the file.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll have it in the file.
okay, great.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
When you come back in 20 years,
Oh, Jesus.
We've
For phase 3.
We've been
we'll still be here, Doug.
I don't know about that, I don't know if I will be.
No, that's good.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, Mr. King.
Thanks for coming in.
Good job.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
You're tough. Thank you.
you bet. All right, with the permission of the board, I'm gonna dispense the agenda, go right to public forum. Mr. Dupont is here tonight. He has a request of the board, and I would turn it over to him. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just for the minutes, Jim Dupont, 118 Elm Street East, representing the Colonial Road Runners Club. Colonial Road Runners Club is based in basically the Brockton, Abington, Taunton areas, 501c3 nonprofit. We've got a permit from the town of Raynham for will be our
Yes.
fourth annual Frosty Half Marathon, which will be on December 3rd this year. Previously, it had been the second Sunday of December, and the way the road race thing works, if there's another race the same day as yours, or there isn't one, that helps you set the date. So we were able to take the first Sunday in December, which we did, because the later in December you go, the higher the risk is of a weather event canceling your race. In the past, we've run the race out of the Raynham Middle School. We got a permit to do that again this year. In previous years, we were able to, with the permission of the Sewer Commission and recommendation of the superintendent, to use your parking on race day. We anticipate somewhere, we're capped at 500 runners by the permit, and with the school and with the town. But we were able to park cars in your area, which of course require, and we're fully insured. This was part of the permit that was necessary, the information we had to supply to the regional school district and the town. So I would like to just request permission from the commission. I spoke with the superintendent, and John, he's been very helpful, cooperative in the past, and just wanted, as a matter of official record, to get a vote from the commission that was, with your permission, that this action be taken.
Thank you. Superintendent.
What we do is, we open up the gate at 7 o'clock, and our wastewater worker goes around, he checks the stations all day, he comes back at the end of the day. By that time the race is concluded, the cars are in, the cars are out, and then we lock up the gate at the end of the day.
Never been an issue, never been a
No.
problem.
No, we've done it the past couple of years. Happy to support his program.
Gentlemen,
Yes, and I recommend it, and I support it 100%.
so that would be a motion in favor of granting the
I'll
request?
make a motion in favor of granting the use of our parking facilities for the road race on December
And just
3rd.
before the commission votes, I was authorized to extend a free entry to the half marathon to the superintendent and the 3 members of the commission.
Does Mr. Betancourt have to run in the race?
He's obliged to, although he is talking about using a golf cart.
Do I hear a second? Mr. Ross?
I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, none? It is granted. Best of luck with the race, Jim.
Thanks very much.
Sorry you
Good
had
luck,
to
Jim.
wait.
I
I would've put you first if you
Jimmy.
got here earlier.
Nice seeing you. Thanks for coming in.
This guy's done some running, and so has this guy. You two guys, I don't know.
No, I haven't.
I'm still living.
I've seen Mr. Roster many a time out on the road back in the day.
Yes, and when you were delivering my newspaper.
And that's where I started running, Joe.
Yes, I know.
Good night, Jim. All right, back to the regular agenda. Let's go with superintendent's report.
So construction progress update, contract 4 and 5. CN Corporation workers will complete the required railroad training during the first week in December. Then they will install a force main steel sleeve and force main over the tracks on Church Street. He's finishing up a job down in Plymouth, concurrent with getting the permits, the bonding and everything, insurance. So I talked to Mario this week. He says he's coming in end of November, get the training, and in December lay the pipe. It's only a 1-week job. Last week we had Source Pumping complete a high pressure washing of the new sewer lines on Church Street, River Street, and Riverbrook Drive. These lines were installed last summer, summer before. They were never cleaned out after. And then when we resurfaced the road a few weeks ago, they had to adjust the frame and covers. You always get debris going into the manhole shelves and the manhole lines. So because it was a new line and there's not gonna be any more penetrations, we had Source come in and flush the whole thing. We did get some gravel and rocks and grit, so it was good to get that out of there so we would not have any blockages over time. The paving invoices for Church Street, Riverbrook Drive from Keating Paving have been submitted. They're in your packet for signature, the authorization this evening. The prices came in good for Church Street. We had budgeted $180,000. It came in at $156,000. And River Street and Riverbrook Drive, we budgeted $142,000. Came in at $116,000. So from our budget, we saved almost $49,000 on paving. And our thanks to the highway superintendent, who had favorable contracts with Keating and did a good job for us. And the highway department backed up the edges of the pavement with processed gravel, lumen seed. So we get good support, and then he stripes it, so we get good support from the highway department. We're happy to participate with them.
Did Keating buy the mix from aggregate?
I don't know where he gets his mix from, but has to be somewhat local, so.
Well,
so
I'm
it's
just
still low
wondering,
enough.
because I know the town has a ton rate with aggregate.
Well, the contract was with
Keating.
unit cost with Keating.
Okay.
The Basinole subdivision, the line testing of the cross-country sewer line has been completed, so the sewer line is all complete, and that went well. But the only pump station work completed since last month is the installation of interior insulation. And I got a lot of promises from Global Construction. He's gonna come in with the process piping guy. He's gonna put in the wall board. Wall boards are on order, the doors are on order, but the progress is poor. Right now we have in the Bassett Knoll subdivision, we got 5 houses framed and one foundation going in and two building permits issued today. So the house construction is going good, but he's playing Russian roulette because he got no pumping station. So, but he understands that the long-built homes understands that he cannot connect those homes if the pumping station's not complete, and it's his risk.
He wouldn't get an occupancy permit.
Well, that's it, yeah, all right, he understands it's his risk. So, so we gotta see some progress on that Bassett Knolls in the next couple of weeks. Paramount Pump Station design, Rob Carey, our assistant superintendent, and I met with Ty and Bond last week and conducted a review of their 50% design conceptual prints of Paramount Pump Station. We had a number of comments. This is typical to have progress review, design review as the project evolves. We did the same thing with Elm Street East wet well study. That's a study to see if we need to increase the size of the wet well at Elm Street East, because we got all the earth source flow coming in. We get a high frequency of pumps on and off as the wet well fills up quickly because it's maybe undersized. So they're doing a study for us, and we commented on their findings so far before they issue their final report. We should have that final report for the board next month. I-9 reduction program. We had completed phase 1 completely, and that was in Bubella Park in Pine Hill Estates. We saw some reduction in the flows over there because we took out some infiltration. Phase 2, they already did the field work. We're waiting for their detailed report. We're getting ready to go to phase 3, field work. I accompanied 2 different closed circuit TV inspection firms on the cross-country line from South Street West to King Street. And they're going to offer their pricing to AECom that's managing the project. And then we'll firm up, and in December or January we'll do that phase 3 field work. It's the cross-country line plus Pleasant Field.
Okay.
Intermunicipal agreement, the quarterly invoice from Taunton for wastewater, treatment of our wastewater is $125,000. That invoice is in your packet. That's typical for a quarter. We carry that in our budget. This month, we conducted classes on several topics. We have, our employees are in various stages of licensing improvement. So we had class on pipeline cleaning and maintenance, underground repair and construction, sedimentation and flotation, and treatment plant maintenance. So that's our ongoing internal training. I have a number of handouts. I wanted to give the board a copy of our collections
Thank you.
for our connection fees. And this shows you how much for calendar year 2017. There's $136,000 plus $199,000, so it's about $336,000 just from the beginning of the calendar year. And you can see the various accounts. And Mr. Chairman, you'll see on the front page, Prospect Hill Street Agreement.
Yeah.
Okay? That's what caught my attention. I looked up the agreement, I gave you a copy of it. And then I found out it was, here's a copy of the agreement. And I found out that it may be charged the wrong account, so we're gonna follow up on that. On the last page, it gives the program payment.
Yeah, yeah, we gotta make sure that gets into our account where it's supposed to be.
Well, it should go towards the bonds.
Right.
It's an annual payment.
Yeah.
So I don't know how far back, perhaps it wasn't going towards the bonds.
Went into the inspectional services line
Yeah.
item?
I don't know whether.
Yeah, I know. I know, John.
Okay,
We're not
so,
happy with that.
so then we have our articles for sewer expansion. We had a $9 million article and a $2.5 million article. And these are the amounts remaining. This position is improved since the last report because we enjoyed savings on our asphalt installation. So we're gonna just about break even on the $9 million article, and we're gonna have about $311,000 unexpended on the $2.5 million article.
Are there any outstanding amounts?
I tried to list them as liabilities there.
Uncommitted balance is 13 and 311, yeah. Balance to finish, T and B, construction phase.
Done that.
Did you?
Yeah.
Church Street
You
payroll.
stick around long enough to get those
2002.
surprises.
15 years ago, we
Yeah.
did that.
He's getting down the end of the 20-year agreement.
Ted Stroni was mad.
Hmm.
That was a good deal. That was a good deal between the two towns.
So it's good cooperation.
It
you
really
know?
was, yeah. A lot of people got a nice benefit for that.
Mm.
It was a good thing. Did you want this back, or is this my copy?
No, that's yours.
Thank you.
Okay, so then we get, is our O&M budget status. This reflects
Thank you.
4 months, July, August, September, October. 1/3 of the fiscal year. It's going along pretty good.
Ed roster convention to,
What?
You're reading that wrong.
Well, that was Joe Betancourt, I'm
No,
sorry.
no, you're reading that
Haven't gone any
wrong.
further
He
than
didn't
we
go
have
to any convention. He went to the nursing home for coffee. I was with him.
So it's tracking right close to projections, John,
Yeah,
which is really good. No unforeseen expenses to date.
no.
That's good.
And then this is our monthly report that shows you the combined amount of wastewater going to Taunton, the sum of South Street East and Route 44. And you'll see that our monthly flow is about 850,000 gallons per day. We're allowed 1,300,000 gallons per day. You'll see that it was high in April when we had the high water table and infiltration, and now it's come down to a more manageable level. Part of this improvement is reflected in South Street East I&I reduction. I mean to say Pine Hill Estates I&I reduction, and we're continuing with that program.
And the interesting part, as far as I'm concerned, is the October 084 that you're talking about, compared to a year ago, which was 086. So that'd be 20,000 gallons less a year later with
A lot of tie-ins.
additional additions.
Right.
The I&I's working.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know how
Good
many
point.
additions? Count up that previous sheet I gave you on all those connections. All those connection fees is additional wastewater going in, and Joe makes the observation, hey, no increase in the past year, which is.
That's
pretty
really
report
good.
card.
Gee, bean counters look at different things than engineers.
Thank you for that observation.
Questions for the superintendent and his report? Reports? None? Okay, moving on the agenda, we'll review the certified retained earnings annual report.
So I got two reports from town accountant David Grab, certified retained earnings.
Okay.
And I guess this one was certified free cash.
Yeah, we did good.
Can you get these guys to print a little louder? For Christ's sakes.
I think one of the
The
things.
first one is the city, the town, the free cash. Second one is the sewer.
Right. Now, I think one of the things you wanna, take a look at is I looked at the previous three years total. And, this particular year, the one we just got certified, 1,945,177 is the highest, over the past 3 years. Last year was 1,412,000. And the year before that was 1,880,000, so, that's very healthy, and that, as you look at the second page though, because of the work in getting that amount to where it is, we're able to afford our capital plan without jeopardizing future resources. And we're able to, on the second page, if you look at the second section, it has the articles that will come out of that, which still will leave us a manageable amount for any unforeseen expenditures for the rest of the fiscal year beyond this special town meeting next week. Right down here are our articles.
Oh,
This is the towns,
Yeah.
ignore those. They're spending a lot more than us. We're down, those are the
Yeah,
those are the ones we're gonna do, if they pass town meeting. That's gonna be adjusted, I'm gonna have a presentation on one of those articles. It's gonna be a bit higher than what's listed here,
oh,
570, that was not our original amount.
No, you think that's gonna go, the 570 is gonna go up?
Yeah, I'm gonna show you. We're not accepting the reduction that was presented.
We submitted 650, Joe, you remember?
Well, I know that, I mean, I could make a 20-minute
yeah.
dissertation on, well, you know, some people not looking at it in the same way. You go out to buy something, to do something, you better make sure you have enough to do it, because you don't know what you're gonna come up with. That's very good.
Okay. All right,
And I wanna just make a general observation, we do have good free cash. But that free cash, the magnitude of it going up, a lot of it is the betterments.
yeah, yeah.
And the betterments are supposed to be assigned to debt. And the accounting department needs to clarify that. So-
You will see that 628,918 is going to sewer construction debt for the year out of that. Maybe I'll jump, because we're on finances, I'm gonna jump right to town meeting sewer department articles and talk to the board about what happened to the superintendent and I last night at the, not last night, Tuesday night. We had the pre-town meeting, and we were caught off guard a little bit, where on two of the articles, they rounded off, which is fine, I understand, for the sake of print, you know, they rounded up some change to whole numbers, no big deal. Article 2, they rounded up to $52,000. And Article 3, they rounded up to $17,650. The superintendent and I didn't discuss that or challenge that, because it's a rounding purpose to make whole numbers for the warrant, and also what we don't expend is going to revert back to the enterprise account anyway. So
Yeah.
if the final bill comes in at $412 less than that, we're getting that back. The one article we did have concern with was the first article, which was to transfer the sum of $650,000 from the sewer enterprise for the pumps at the Paramount Pump Station and additional work on that. We were caught off guard by that because no one called either the superintendent or I as chairman to say that a reduction was voted on by the finance committee and presented when they published the warrant for the town meeting. So right prior to the meeting, I had discussions with both chairman of the capital planning committee and chairman of the finance committee to try and ascertain how that happened. There was concern about the contingency not spelling out exactly the percentages needed, so they made a reduction in what they considered the contingency amount. So what we agreed to do was to go back and line item the three specific areas of where we believe contingency is required, and to more refine that number. And so instead of their recommending the reduced amount, they made an announcement that they were working with the sewer commission, and the final amount will be determined at the town meeting next Monday. So with that, if you take a look at, on that first article, do we have the second page where you have the breakdown?
No, you want it?
I got it here.
Okay.
But
I didn't have it
I'll read it.
available for the board.
So if you remember when we broke down the amounts for the whole thing, in the back there were three categories. One is the estimated bid amount. That was one amount. The next one was design, bidding, and construction. And then there was the legal and police line item. So three different dollar amounts, three different line items in that presentation. So what we talked about with the two chairmen was to get them a more better percent, instead of just doing an overall percentage on the contingency, to break down the percentage that we feel the contingency would be needed for each of the three items. Obviously, one would be much higher than the other. So what the superintendent and I did is we took a look at those amounts, and we came up with, on estimated bid amount, which is $371,500, that we were comfortable with a contingency amount of 23%, which would be $85,445. On the design, bidding and construction, $111,450. We came up with a 8% contingency amount of $8,916. And on the legal and police expense, $18,575. The contingency would be $2,043. For a total of $96,404, which would bring the request, instead of the $570,000
That they published.
that they published, to $597,804.
597 instead of 650.
Well, 804. I'm going, they want exact amounts. I'm not rounding around. I'm gonna give them the exact amount of each of the three categories.
Could I just get 1 second?
Yeah. So we have three options. We could protest we could have a floor fight for the original amount of $650,000. We could accept the reduction to $570,000, which I believe puts the project in jeopardy. Or we could present, and I believe would be supported, the breakdown of the three amounts to bring that to $597,804.
And it wouldn't surprise me at all if they didn't round that up.
I'll let them. I have a form here from the town moderator that I'm required to fill out with the board's permission, if we vote so.
This is a permit slip.
Where is that form? It's here somewhere, but anyway, where I put here it is, right here. This is a new form, which I move to amend the article as follows, and I put the amount down, and I have to give it to the town council, the moderator, the town clerk, the finance committee chairman, the capital planning committee chairman.
A copy of each?
Each
To
one
of them?
Yeah.
So you're gonna go up with about eight or 10
Yeah,
copies?
8 or 10 copies.
Yeah, okay.
And then I would make a motion from the floor. And then they either, with the description as to why I'm making that motion, and I would anticipate their support because we're doing what they requested. Or if they oppose it, with the direction of the board, I would floor fight that as your chairman.
And you have the permission of the board, and as a taxpayer, I might get up there and have a few words for them also.
All right,
I'm
so.
not gonna take your thunder, I'm not gonna take your heat, I'm not gonna curb whatever you wanna say, Gordon, but,
Well,
I've been down this road, you and I have been down this road a number of times, so.
All right, so with the permission of the board, I would ask to entertain a motion to reduce the previous board's vote of $650,000 on Article 1 to $597,804 to be presented at the town meeting, asking for that amount to be approved instead of the $570,000 amount as recommended by the,
$597,804?
yes.
Well, why don't you add 50 cents? They want an exact number?
Well, no, that's the
Want to rub
exact.
it in?
But I don't want
And
to.
they're gonna be watching this, and they're gonna be out to get me, but that's okay. I'll make a motion, as you have requested,
Okay,
that the chairman presents to the town meeting a revised number of $597,804 as a request on our first article for the reconstruction and rehabbing the
pump station at Paramount Station.
Second?
I'll second that.
All right, any further discussion? None, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, none, it is unanimous, I will do that. I will fill out this form, I will make about 24 copies. I'll present it to both chairmen. And we'll see what happens Monday. I think we'll
Do
be
we have to
fine.
vote for an armed guard for the chairman when he goes to the meeting?
Nah.
No,
Oh,
for the other member. The one that doesn't have glasses and doesn't have a law degree.
All right, so we'll go forward with that. Thank you for that, gentlemen. Next on the agenda is
I'm meeting here is adequate, okay.
review registry of deeds, recording document for sewer betterments for phase 6, contracts 4, 5, and 6 to be signed by the Board of Selectmen.
The board remembers that a year ago, when the town treasurer levied betterments on contracts 2 and 3, there was a cover document that has to be signed by the Board of Selectmen. So I'm asking the Board of Sewer Commissioners, because it's initiated by you, if you would approve this, and I'll give it to the Board of, the town administrator, and he can present it to the Board of Selectmen on November 21st for their signature. And at that point, it would be the cover letter on the betterments that the tax collector would bring to the registry of deeds.
Is the original in the, so if we motion,
No, we're not signing the original, that's signed by the selectmen.
just the selectmen, we don't sign as well?
No,
Okay.
no, you're only asked to, is this okay for me to give to the
Okay.
Board of Selectmen?
This order is voted and adopted by the Board of Selectmen. Well, when you stop and think about taking legal action against somebody, who's the authority? Board of Selectmen.
Right.
So we're just requesting them to put liens on the property to make sure we get paid. And they have the power to do so.
All right. Yeah.
So if you need a motion to do
To recommend to the Board of Selectmen to sign the recording document for sewer betterments phase 6, contracts 4, 5, and 6.
so moved, yeah.
Second.
All in favor?
it? Aye.
It is a vote. Okay, next on the agenda, discuss developer's proposal for sewer service on Pine Street South.
The board remembers this discussion last month.
Yep.
With the developer offering to install the sewer pipe on Pine Street South. I believe Commissioner Bettencourt had additional communication with the developer, and that was included a proposal from Ty and Bonds to actually do the detailed design for a fee of $38,700. So now we'll hear from Commissioner Bettencourt on how he's done with those discussions.
Good evening.
I spoke with one of the partners, and this is really a summation of what they propose to do for us. And I mentioned to them that the board was inclined to go along with this under these particular stipulations, that they pay Ty and Bond to design, and there's a quote from Ty and Bond. They'll obtain all the other permits that they have. They'll install a line at their expense. The developer would reimburse us for costs to engage the services of an engineering firm to inspect as they go along. They'll provide sewer service along Pine Street for all of the dwellings and vacant lots as part of their plan, and an 8-inch sewer stub for Courtney Way. They will vacuum test the new line and manholes on Pine Street for the plans. And as we discussed, that we would, at a later date, when the developer completes his development, the sewer connection fee for each of his new houses shall be $1,000 instead of the usual $6,500. Now, we also, I mentioned to them that if this is what you want, and you agree with it, I said, get yourself down to the superintendent and get the paperwork drawn up so that we would have this in writing. The board will agree to it, you agree to it, then you're all set to go. And the response that I got from the one around here, he says, that's fine. They have already taken title to the property.
However, they have not communicated with me since your discussions.
Yeah, okay, well, the thing is, they can't do anything today anyways. I can see them tomorrow and ask have they proceeded any further.
What I need from the board is a directive to tell Ty and Bond to begin the design. I guess we can't do that yet.
Just tell them to come in and sit with you, and if they want this, that they've got to do it within the next 10 days. Actually, he's a phone call away. So if you want, I will call him and say, look, we brought this up, what I gave to you, we brought to the board's inclined, they're willing to do this, but you need to come down and get this thing squared away so that we can go ahead, and we need to cut loose, tie and bond so that the design will be ready for you to do this in the spring when you want to do it.
So, yeah, that sounds good.
I've also had discussions with the highway superintendent about this possibility, and he's prepared to support it in terms of issuing a street opening permit with the understanding that the sewer department is going to do the curb-to-curb pavement 1 year later after trench settlement.
As a side observation, have you noticed the markings on Locust Street?
Well, yeah, what happened on Locust Street was there was, this is a little, this is deviation. We had SLT Construction install sewer line on Locust Street, north end. And as expected, after 1 year, you had trench settlement. And the highway superintendent had told me he was gonna reconstruct the road at that point, grind it and curb to curb. And he was gonna use money from Global Construction in that housing development. Well, he sees that there's a lot of traffic, construction traffic going in for long-built homes, and he wants to wait until 2019 to pave the road. So because there's trench settlement, he prompted me to, today we grind the road where the trench had settled, and on Saturday, Stanley's gonna come in and put a skim coat on those trench settlements because the highway superintendent wanted that roadway surface to be smooth so he could plow it effectively this winter instead of having divots. So that's why there was markings there. We ground it today, Saturday,
Yeah.
Stanley's gonna pave it.
I drove over it and I could tell, I knew what had happened,
Yeah,
but that had been relatively smooth for quite a while.
right.
That had been topped.
I wasn't supposed to do that maintenance, he was supposed to pave it, okay? But he says, oh, I'm not gonna do it till 19, so I got stuck.
All right, so it's got to get down here to
Okay.
get going on that. All right, thank you for that, Joe. Next on the agenda, discuss future sewer expansion and High Ridge Drive sewer design proposal from Ty and Bond.
So last month, we talked about the next phase 7 of sewer expansion. It would take in Park Place, Gatsby Gardens. That design has already been commissioned and substantially complete. And the third portion would be High Ridge Drive, because we had made previous commitments and we got failed septic systems. So I had two assignments. One, how much would it cost to do detailed design on High Ridge Drive? So I got the proposal from Ty and Bond, $38,700 to do soil borings, survey, and detailed design, and add 2 sheets to the bid package. And I need guidance from the board whether or not to issue this task to Ty and Bond. And our strategy was to put this job out for bids in April, after we get the town meeting vote. And we'll have a fixed cost construction amount before we have the Prop 2.5 override vote. If we get a yes vote, we'll be ready to issue the contract, go right into construction.
Be May, not April.
Okay,
May town meeting.
yeah.
And
And
then
then the vote would be perhaps in June.
it's June. Usually we
Okay.
try and do it before, usually the last week. There's so many days of posting, and we've always done them in the past, either the third Saturday or fourth Saturday in June.
I want to be in a position, if we get a favorable vote, the ballot, that we could issue the
Be ready-
contract.
ready to go.
We could lay the pipe next summer.
Yeah.
And if I can design the High Ridge Drive this winter, I'll be in that position.
Now, is this gonna be part of
Park Place,
Park Place?
Gatsby Gardens, it's an additional sheet or 2.
So what we would have is the design ready to go out to bid.
No, it'll already be bid. It'll be ready to go out to bids at town meeting. Okay?
Do we have an article going into town meeting for the sewer?
In May, yes, we will.
Well, I've drafted one.
Yep.
And we got lots of time to massage it. I don't like the pronunciation,
Well, we'd have to run it by council too.
yeah. But I took this out of the previous article, and I'd ask you to edit it severely, because of punctuation.
Authorize the engineering and construction services, construction development services in Raynham to include. Oof.
Yeah, prior to any presentations, I'll get the residential impact from the town treasurer tax collector, just as we've always done in the past with requests. We'll make, after the holidays, we'll make a presentation to the Board of Selectmen, Finance Committee, Capital Planning Committee, and take it from there.
So up front, if this is gonna be part of our information package, if you look at the language, clean it up some before we send it to town council. Punctuation looks poor, I didn't like how it read. I don't like long sentences. Whereas and therefores.
This puts 4 corners on the article.
It says Raynham and including, so I thought we would not be restricted.
Well, my observation is to include Park Place, Gatsby Gardens, and High Ridge neighborhoods. You are being specific in Raynham.
Well, I'm not being exclusive to those streets. I didn't think I was because of our previous
I
experience.
think you would add a couple of words and it's something to the effect of to include but not limited to,
Okay, all right, put that in
Is that
there
what
and
you
you
mean?
read it.
something like that.
At one time, we were looking for blanket type.
That was if we were gonna do the whole thing, but this one, because we've already got, the best way to sell it is to say, we're going to at least do this. And then if there's any additional dollars, we'll go beyond that. Where before, we were restricted to just doing that, and we had some additional dollars and couldn't go forward.
Well, why don't we put in some words that to continue the expansion of our sewer system?
Yeah.
You know, because that's what we're doing, we're continuing the expansion. And lateral service of Raynham to include, but not exclusively, Park Place, Gatsby Garden, or whatever. I just wanted it as vague as possible, because if for some strange reason we have funds available that could help another little cluster
Mhm.
someplace.
Yep.
I don't want it to say, well, you can't use that because the four corners of the article said, this is where you gotta put it.
Right, that's what happened to us last time.
Yes.
Yep. Exactly, it's a good
Yes.
point, yep.
I just wanna make sure we're all on the same page with the language of how it should come through.
All right, well, so we'll do some work on that.
Okay, yes, please edit that.
Yep.
And, the decision point, if you want me to commission, the detailed design of High Ridge.
You wanna vote on that tonight? As well, right?
Well, let's put it this way. Do we have the funds in the budget?
Yes,
Okay, as long as we've got the funds, we can expend the funds, and we just keep it in the bucket when everything else comes in the bucket to go out for betterment. Well, if you have the funds available, then I will make the motion to engage Ty and Bond to start the process on High Ridge, and survey, borings, design, and bidding. Is that what you want, Mr. Superintendent?
yep,
To spend up to $38,700 in the engineering services.
Did that cover it, John?
yes.
All right, motion's made, second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, none, it is approved. All right. Okay. Under old business, discuss odor eliminator installation in North Raynham.
So the board remembers that we had an initiative to install 66 odor eaters on every residential dwelling that follows the path that the earth source wastewater flows. We put these on their vent pipes so that no hydrogen sulfide and other gases would escape into the neighborhood. And so they, with an effort towards reducing the odor complaints in the neighborhood. And so I got a contractor, and then the Raynham plumbing inspector found out what our initiative was, and he said, first of all, we would have to have a licensed plumber to put those odor eliminators, climb up on the roof and connect it to the vent pipe, because it's a part of the plumbing. And he also said that those, the selected odor eliminator is not approved by the state plumbing code. So it was necessary for me, he directed me that I'm gonna have to get approval. So I'm working with the manufacturer. He went through a independent lab testing procedure and obtained permission with the state of Wisconsin. So I've asked him to give me a quote to go through, file an application with the State Plumbing Board, $750 application fee, attach his independent testing report, his the protocol followed, and ask the State Plumbing Board if they would give me approval to put these odor eliminators on 66 homes in Raynham. So that's where I stand now.
Okay.
I've already had a few residents call me up and ask me when I'm gonna get my odor, my stink pipes on there, but I said, well, be a little delay on that.
Oscarman, while we're waiting for the plumbing, the department, the inspectors of the plumbing at the state level, ask them if we could be permitted to go up on their roof and throw breath mints down the pipe to help the...
Thank you for that update.
Okay.
All right, moving along, emergency business up before the board.
None?
Seeing none, commission reports, all I have is two things. We hope everyone attends the fall town meeting at the Raynham Middle School. That would be next Monday, November 13th at 7 PM. Commission reports, anything else?
You want me to talk to him now or later?
What topic?
What you asked me about Bob Carey.
Is that a personnel matter?
Yeah.
No, that, you guys have to talk about that. That wouldn't be a commission meeting talk. I'll let you guys handle that. Public forum, anybody from the public tonight? Like to address the board? No. Press time? No one from the press would like to talk to the board? No other business, so I'll entertain a motion for adjournment, performance of administrative duties, sign the bills and warrants, no business to be conducted afterward. Next meeting scheduled for Thursday, December 14th, 2017 at 6 PM here at the Raynham sewer office.
So moved.
Second?
So, I'll vote, yeah.
All right, motion made second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, none, we are adjourned.
Thank you very much.